One of the most controversial things I've done in menswear is wear a skirt. I've received countless hate comments because I've worn a skirt and posted about it. I have one skirt that I really love. I've worn it for everything from fashion week to just getting a coffee down the street. But out of every fashion choice I've made, that one has generated the most controversy by far. So that begs the question, should men wear skirts? The thing that I think a lot of people in the modern world miss is that there's a huge historical precedent for men wearing skirts. They've been an essential clothing item since prehistory, literally. There's documentation of ancient Sumerians, Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, so many ancient people wearing skirts regardless of gender. In some contexts, they were even a masculine specific thing. There were skirts that were part of armor for Spartans, for Aztecs, for other cultures. And because warriors were pretty much always men, that meant that those skirts were made specifically for men. So skirts have this long history of being both a gender-neutral garment and a masculine garment in some contexts. And it makes sense that they were so prevalent because they're very easy to make and to wear. Really, all you need is one strip of fabric and a way to close it, and you're good to go. So if we have this thousands-year-long history of men and everyone wearing skirts, what changed? There are apparently two main reasons for this. The first one is riding animals. If you're riding, let's say, a horse, having pants on is definitely going to be advantageous for your own comfort. I guess a skirt could work if you folded it over if you had a lot of fabric, but to be fair, pants are probably the better choice. The other big driver of this change was improvements in the manufacturing process for clothing. Things like advanced looms and scissors became more readily available and easy to use. So the manufacturing process for more complex garments like pants became way easier. But that only tells part of the story. Pants were still sort of a niche specific thing, so what actually changed? Between the 18th up to sort of the 20th century, there was a movement in menswear away from extravagance towards more sober styles of dress. So effectively that means people started having a bit less fun with what they were wearing. Pants were likely seen as very modest and professional, and that aligned with the dominant values at the time. Granted, this isn't universal, we're discussing Western society as a whole. There are many specific places where skirts and skirt-like garments aren't only cool and normal, but culturally significant. Perhaps the best known example of this is the kilt from Scotland. I think Braveheart did a lot to popularize that, but it's one great example of a skirt-like garment made specifically for men. So we understand the broad strokes of why skirts went out of style for men. You had improvements in the manufacturing process, people started riding horses, and there was a shift in the values of men's style. So where do we stand now in 2023 entering 2024? I don't know if you've noticed, but there's been a bit of a resurgence in skirts over the last, I don't even know, multiple decades. Men wearing skirts in public context are starting to become more common. Harry Styles is probably the best known example recently, but he definitely wasn't the first to do it. So many popular established designers have been making skirts for men. There was an exhibit at the Met between 2003 and 2004. It was titled Braveheart's Men in Skirts. They showcased a bunch of different skirts by different designers. And I'm just going to read you some of the names of the designers that they featured to give you an idea of how big of a movement this could potentially be. Giorgio Armani, Burberry, Comme des Garçons, Christian Dior, Dolce & Gabbana, Tom Ford for Gucci, Kenzo, Alexander McQueen, Moschino, Vivienne Westwood, Yohji Yamamoto, Jean-Paul Gaultier, of course. So there is some acceptance and some manufacturing of skirts specifically for men in the modern era. Why then do myself and other content creators who happen to be men that wear skirts get so much hate for doing it? Is it because men just shouldn't wear skirts in the modern era? I don't think that's the case. Whether myself or other men are wearing skirts in a feminine way, in a masculine way, in a gender-neutral way, that is a valid and I think important thing to do in fashion. We're seeing a really interesting movement in fashion now where these gender binaries are being broken down. At the end of the day, it's just a piece of cloth. Any meaning ascribed to that is a social thing and not really anything to do with the garment. So if you like it and it makes you feel confident to wear it, why not go for it? To analyze where the hate comes from, I think requires a deeper discussion and understanding of, what do you even call it, gender dynamics in society. But to give you a very brief summary of where I think a lot of it comes from is just insecurity. If someone is feeling insecure about who they are and their self-expression, and they see someone else being authentically themselves, there's a jealousy there, there's an insecurity there. And the reaction that people on the internet often have is to try to bring that person down. And I personally believe in just sharing empathy and kindness with people who are hating on the internet because there's obviously something going on. That's not really a normal thing to do. So when I receive comments like that these days, people saying whatever it is, homophobic slurs, veiled threats, just people being generally mean, I don't meet that with hate or with anger or frustration anymore. I did for a time because I didn't really get it, but these days I try to meet it with as much empathy and kindness as I can. I don't respond to these comments, but I do think when I see them, I hope you're okay. I hope that whatever's hurting you stops. Because again, it's just a piece of clothing. If someone's like, that looks cool, I'd like to wear that, they should have every right to do that, as long as it's overall appropriate for life. So to answer the question, should men wear skirts, I think we have every right to. And if you're a man who wants to wear a skirt, I think you should go for it. I love styling styling my skirt. I love wearing it. I feel confident wearing it. It's very cool. It's got pocket that's corduroy. I'll put some pictures up. It's a really cool piece. And the wonderful thing is, I think that the confidence shines through more than anything. Like, I definitely get comments, remarks in person and online that are negative, but the sentiment I get way more often is that looks cool on you. You look like you're rocking it. Overall with fashion, I think the guiding principle should be, does it make you feel cool? Does it make you feel confident? Do you like wearing it? And that ultimately is my answer to the question. I hope you learned something from the historical context, and that if you are a skirt lover or a skirt hater, you got something out of that discussion. Because at the end of the day, we all just want to look good and feel good. So why not encourage more of that? But I digress. Thank you so much for being here. Please do like, subscribe, comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And as always, have a great day.